Time is now 5:30. We will call this meeting of the county council to order. Begin with an invocation by Vice Chairman Carroll, followed by the pledge. All those that are able, please stand.
Let's pray. Precious Heavenly Father, we thank you for your rich and many blessings you show upon us. Lord, we thank you for the freedoms we have to live in this county, the opportunity we've been afforded to discuss the business and do the things we should for this county. Lord, we ask that everything we do tonight be for the upbuilding of your kingdom and pleasing in your sight. We ask for your traveling protections on us as we leave. Forgive us where we fail you. It's in your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up, we have the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Second. A motion to approve the agenda, followed by second. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? You have one. Under new business, we have a JAG grant approval request for administration. If you'll add 9A for a grant approval.
That's coming from the sheriff and administrator.
Are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda?
Motion to approve is amended.
Motion second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. And next, we have the approval of the minutes from the January 10th meeting. Approve the minutes as presented.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Carroll. Second by Mr. Yance. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Here are none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Up next, we have public comments. We have two this evening. Up first is Mr. DeWitt.
Yes, my name is Tom DeWitt. I live at 473 Wells Road, Breakwater, South Carolina. We're here to adjust the development which is ongoing at Bryson's Ford Road and Wells Road. It's a tract of about 120 acres. The proposed development is 400 plus homes. This tract is accessible by two ways. First by Bryson's Ford Road, the other by Wells Road. Wells Road, half of it is now closed off because the bridge is inaccessible. It has been for about a year now. The other half is at best a 1-lane road, 1.5 lane road. It is not a 2-lane road. This tract of land is split by a creek, which the bridge used to cross. It's fairly equal in terms of half of the property being on one side of the creek and the other half on the other. So half of this property is accessible only by a 1.5 lane road. We have had very heavy equipment using this road. And as I say, this road can only handle 1 car at a time. 2 cars cannot pass on this road. We have had 18-wheelers, wide load 18-wheelers coming down this road, stopping on the road, blocking the road in order to empty their goods. There is no place for them to turn around. They have to back up a 1/4 mile into a drive back into the pump station in order to turn around and go back out the end of Wells Road, which is about 1 mile long. That they travel on this 1-lane road. There's also been the accessibility is has been hampered by this much traffic coming down this road. It not only jeopardizes us being able to get in and out of our house, it jeopardizes the mail carriers, the people that bring UPS, FedEx, other people that come down that road. There, our family, and there is one other family that lives on this road. So there's not a lot of congestion other than construction traffic at this point in time. We have bulldozers that are coming down, equipment bringing bulldozers down there. We've had logging trucks, logging equipment that have been down there. All this land has been clear cut with all this equipment that's on there now. And it's due to be graded out and construction will start, which will cause more traffic, more construction traffic on a one-lane road. Basically, this is causing some problems, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. Also, the communication between the developers, the residents, and the county has been non-existent. Our neighbors around there know nothing about what's basically going on. The development, it's a plat that we took. We got a picture from the developers that we took with our camera, and that's how I know what I know about it. We've been promised to get a plat of this back before Thanksgiving. We have not received a plat of it. They say they have it, but yet we do not have it in our hands. The engineers said they gave 5 of them to the developers to share with the neighborhood. That has not been made available to us. So the communication has been terrible. The other day, my wife and I, at about 5 o'clock in the evening, saw a group of folks down at our water that connects to our house. We went down and inquired what they were doing, and they said, by the way, your water will be turned off tomorrow morning. And they said, we are going to cap the line, the water line right here, and we will shut your water off for 2 to 3 hours while we cap it off, and you will be without water. Had we not inquired, we would not have known this at all. We have livestock that depend on it. We have horses, we have cows. We couldn't take a shower. We couldn't make coffee. We couldn't brush our teeth. It's totally inexcusable. They could have easily come to our house and said, you will be without water, and let us know. Either the county could have done it, the water people could have done it, the developers could have done it, but it wasn't. We had to go down there and ask and find out ourselves that this just did not happen. Our property line runs right down the middle of Wells Road. The developers came and tore that whole road up, destroying our property line. And I assume that it's going to be put back down and reinstated. But the county didn't do that. The developers did it. And the word that I got when I talked to the man who did it, he said, my boss told me to do it. And this isn't the county that did it. This is the developer that did it. And that's the response that I got. And this needs to change. The number of homes that you're putting on this property is 400 homes. And there's quite a bit of property on this land that is in floodplain. So you're talking about 4 homes per acre. 4 homes per acre. That's quite a bit. And that's fine. They own that property and they can do what they want to with it. But this little community right here that is accessible by 2 roads is not set up to handle this many homes, especially Wells Road being only 1.5 lanes wide. It cannot handle that. It is endangering myself, my wife, the people that come to our property, it is a hazard. And it needs to change right now. If that development is to proceed, the road needs to be widened to a 2-lane road. Like I said, there needs to be better communication from the county council to the neighbors in our area. It has not existed and it needs to. Thank you. That's all I have.
And I would love to take the recommendation of the communication you're looking for. I mean, every single meeting we have open, we live stream all of our meetings. How would you better desire communication from the county council?
Well, I think that number one, this plat, it should be made available.
It is. You can go online, I can go up on my phone right now. It is available.
We were supposed to get a layout from it.
The county can promise you that.
Well, this, if we took a picture of it, we were promised.
Who did you get a plat? Who promised you the plat?
The developers
Okay.
promised it. And Al Potter, who's an engineer with the county, told me he gave 5 copies of that to the developers in order to share with us and let us know what's going on.
Is this a good email for you?
Yes, it is.
I can email you a copy tonight that was presented to the county. When were you made aware of the subdivision going up?
Subdivision was made aware of about a year ago when the county asked me about a sewer easement through our property.
The county or the water company? They're not the same thing. The Water Sewer Commission, right?
Water Sewer Commission
Okay.
did. And the easement was to be paid for by the developer, or let me say, it has been paid.
Okay.
They had paid us for that easement and right of way. They have since decided they're going to put a manhole cover at the edge of our property and not continue with that easement through here. They are going to use sewer system from another source. That easement still available, but that's how I found out that the development was going to take place. And at one point, the developing company was supposed to be Line J is, and this is word of mouth because I have not gotten a whole lot of information from other sources, but Line J was apparently supposed to be the first developer. And they had come in and cut roads, or somebody had, for a development, which they left the trees and they had a nice subdivision going. When it changed hands and Meritage took over this development, they came in and clear cut the entire 120 acres. Of course, it destroyed all the wildlife out there, but they own the property, I assume they have the right to do that. But that what was once a beautiful wildlife area is no longer.
I can be sure to get you everything the county has on this Wells Road project. Put this email right here that you provided. And like I said, it's been online since the first time they went to the planning commission. It's all out there on the internet. And I mean, not everybody has access. I do understand that, but I'll be sure you have what I have.
Well, the project in itself should never have been approved. Having Wells Road as a 1.5 lane road. There's way that is not wide enough to handle the traffic coming down that road.
Good news is that happens to be a county road, so we can react to that. We can't react to every road because we don't own every road in this county.
Yeah.
But that's a road that we can definitely have addressed by our roads and bridges and address issues that they rely on.
We had lived out there for over 30 years, and it used to be somewhat of a gravel road. The county did come in and pave that road and made it 1.5 lanes. It was a 1-lane road. We're thankful that they widened the road, but it still cannot handle 2-lane traffic. And it's just not. It's not right to expect 200 house development to travel on a road that is not properly capable of handling that amount of traffic.
And that's, I wish our roads and bridges guy was here tonight, so I could ask him if there are plans to widen that, but I'll be honest, we're not gonna widen this before they build development, because that would be. I mean, if there's not the need for it yet, it's not gonna happen. But there could be a good
The traffic-
possibility
The traffic already is bad on that road.
on Wells.
Yes, with the construction traffic. And it is not gonna get any better. Once you have houses going up and people that are gonna be living on that road, the traffic is gonna get worse.
We're not gonna put in a brand new road to get tore up by construction equipment while they're building houses.
Well, I can understand that, and I know you're liable, but it is creating a hazard. And it should have been addressed before the project was approved. And why it wasn't, I don't know.
Do we know what is happening with Wells Road in the future? Or Bryson Ford Road, is Bryson Ford Road owned by the county?
That I don't know right off the top of my head. I do know Wells is. But we can look into all that. And once again, if we control it, we can make a decision. And there's a lot of times, if it's a state road or even municipal roads we deal with at times, we have zero say over them. We can make recommendations all day, but we can definitely look into Wells and Bryson Ford without a problem.
Well, is there a chance they can discontinue construction until something is done?
Well, we will not pave a road before construction is complete. What happens if they don't build houses? Like, we go spend all that money on those roads, and let's say, I mean, we all know what the market's doing these days. And they don't build the first house, and we've just gone and wasted all that money on a road that's used, what'd you say, three families live on Wells Road right now?
Yeah.
What are those people that live?
I mean, we don't, I'm sorry, public comment only by those that sign up. But that's, I mean, we'll be glad to look at it, but I mean, we're not going to put the cart before the horse.
Well, there have been instances where the developers have come in and had their trucks delivering stuff and completely blocking the road. As I said, wide load semis that block the entire road. Police cannot get out, ambulance could not get out or in.
So that bridge is closed, right?
That bridge is closed.
And the developments,
The developer.
on the bridge side of your property.
They do not have a place where they can pull their trucks in and unload their trucks and turn them around and go back out.
I understand that, and I have full faith that with the three families on that road and the construction workers that may be on site, if there was an emergency, they would move their equipment so the emergency vehicles could access whatever they needed to access. It's quarter mile, they got to back up. I mean, a good driver,
To
quarter
turn
mile,
around about a quarter of a mile, they have to back up.
I don't see that being a problem.
But that road is to get out is a mile long.
Right.
All right, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Next. Reverend Evans. I had to read your last name, I couldn't read that.
Good evening. The question, all of the subdivision developments, all of these questions and issues of zoning issues. What does it take? Lawrence County voted no to zoning some years ago. Sounds like the majority of the folk here want zoning now. How do you get zoning back on the ballot?
Back on the ballot,
Uh-huh.
what do we need it on the ballot for?
Don't we have to, we voted for it, voted against it last time, doesn't it have to be on the ballot to be voted for?
No, ma'am.
And how do we get zoning going on in Lawrence County?
Well, we're working on a comprehensive plan right now that's due by Christmas or by the end of the year. And then it takes comprehensive plan to then look at zoning options.
Okay.
So when that's completed, then we can look at zoning options.
I don't understand everything, but I just know that these are zoning issues. We don't have any zoning in place to address the issues. And I'm just wondering, how is it that we could implement zoning at this time? And you've answered that question. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. All right, up next, we have some reports to council. First up is the city of Clinton to update us on their infrastructure projects. I think Mr. Meadows is with us, and I would like to recognize Councilwoman Neal. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Good afternoon, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to report on what we've done so thus far with, capital sales tax funding that was allotted to the city of Clinton. Originally, we received $6.5 million. And we had numerous projects that were approved. One of the main projects that we have completed thus far, or just about completed, is the resurfacing of city streets. We had 13 streets on that list. All of them have been touched. There's a few loose ends we need to tie up there to finish that project, with one of them being Elm Street. Elm Street needs some sewer infrastructure work that council agreed last night to provide funding for. So we're going to be working on that soon, and then as soon as infrastructure work's done, we will complete the paving part on that. We had numerous water and sewer projects, totaling $3.7 million, that we have started on 5 of them. We in the process of doing a manhole rehab project and I&I project in Thornwell Pasture. That's ongoing at this time. Funding was allotted in the amount of $250,000. That contract price on that was $259,000. So the city will eat the $9,000 on the overage there, as we agreed to when we took on this project. Main Street, East Main Street water line, that's been another animal. That particular project was initially thought that we must spend about $200,000, but we found out right quickly when COVID hit and other things that prices went up, engineering went up. We're not going to be able to do that. But again, our city council allowed us last night to continue with that project, and it will be hopefully completed by the end of this year or the first of next year. Florida Street Pump Station, we had $250,000 there. We've kind of incorporated the Florida Street Pump Station project in with the Stone Creek Pump Station that the city's building for development of Robert Advance Boulevard. So we will utilize the $250,000 from the county along with SRF funds to complete the Stone Creek Pump Station and also the Florida Street Pump Station upgrade. We have a water hydrant installation project. We had $100,000 allotted for that. That right now is in engineering and hope to have it out for bid very shortly. The last project that we have ongoing or have started with water and sewer is the Wood Center project. We're going to redo a bunch of the infrastructure on the water system, Wood Center, and we have $1.2 million for that project. The remainder of the projects, mostly water tie-ins in different parts of town to give us loop feeds on our water system, give us better water quality and hold down customer complaints for dingy water. That completes the water and sewer portion of this project. And the last thing that we've got to work on is the South Broad Street project for burying utilities. We have yet to start on that one, and we are depending some on Spectrum and AT&T to help us along with that project. You have any questions?
Are there any questions from council or comments?
I have a question regarding the burial of city, but the burial of what kind of line on South Broad Street?
Well, we have some overhead utility lines there that serve our street lights now. We will be replacing those lights with the type of light that we have downtown along South Broad Street, and all of the Charter and AT&T lines will be buried.
What about on North Broad Street?
North Broad Street, we have not gotten anything in this project for that at this time.
And you have an agreement with Spectrum and AT&T to help with
We are working on that as we speak. We've gotten estimates from them and it's quite pricey, so we're gonna try to take some other avenues to see if we can help get some funding to do that.
I hope you get some funding because internet service is really an important thing that needs to be done for everybody, and everybody need to have access.
Well, we're working on some broadband projects also, that are just in the beginning stages, but that will help.
Thank
Well, I appreciate all you do over there in the city of Clinton for us and excited about these projects. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Excited about these projects coming to fruition. Up next, we have Lawrence County Water Sewer Commission, Mr. Fields, I think I saw you there. You go.
Before you start, I would like to apologize. Lack of communication on water construction. We don't typically do that. We usually do a 24-hour regular notice and communicate if there's any way the circumstances. Always typically work with the property owner, the commercial owner. You know, it's been a while since we talked, must be Carol, so so I just apologize for that. I have talked to my construction manager about it, and we just through communication with the contract out there, we thought there was a little bit better communication on that. So I'm sorry. I don't have any cards, but I'll give you my cell number before we're out of here. If you have any other concern before, sure, feel free to keep it going. Thank you. All right, so I think there was a handout that was provided.
So in the back of your.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of read from that if y'all don't mind, because I think it covers all the pertinent information. I think it's important to kind of revisit why we proposed this project when this was approved. So the original tank there in Hickory Tavern is 150,000 gallons. The new tank, which you see in the picture that we provided, you see the new tank under construction and the old tank in the background. New tank is 250,000 gallons, which is much bigger. Allows us to have additional storage capacity for the growth we're seeing in the Hickory Tavern community and obviously fire protection. The other big benefit is the original tank was really too short for our size of our system in the community. It was built back in the 70s. As we've expanded the footprint of that tank and what it needs to serve, for that to happen needs to be higher. And so for the last 15 or 20 years, we've been pumping water out of an elevated tank, which is not what you typically do. It affects your reliability of that storage. So we're raising the tank. New tank will be 25 feet taller, which will obviously increase resiliency in the area and pressure in the area. It allows it to interact with the other tanks in the Ware Shoals community, the Madden's community, and everything else in that area. So a lot of benefit from additional height and additional storage. The original funding that was approved, as you can see there on your report, was just shy of $2 million. I'll echo Joey's comments. We really hope that would cover the cost of this project along with engineering, but things have changed since COVID and other material shortages and other cost increases. So we did go through some value engineering to try to get it back within budget, and even after that, we still are over budget by a little over $500,000. We're bringing some of that work in-house. We're going to do some of the piping, the vault work, finish grading, things of that. We're going to do with our own crews to try to get those costs down, but still there's just so much you can do with an elevated tank. And so the extra $500,000 over budgets, you can see there, will come out of our funds. We would love if there's an opportunity in the future to request some reimbursement there. Be happy to be back before you, ladies and gentlemen, to ask for that, but we do regardless appreciate council support and the voters that supported this referendum. So it's a huge project for us. From a schedule of completion, you can see we're close. If you drive through there, the tank will look much like that. It's been sandblasted. Painting will happen soon. And then once the painters get out of there, we'll finish some of the other grading work and the vault work. It says based off engineer schedule, we'll be closed out in June. We hope to be a little ahead of that, maybe about a month or so. Really, it's weather dependent. So, any questions?
Okay, the old tank down.
Yes, sir. Yeah. As soon as the new tank's in service, we will be tearing down the old tank.
Just have a comment, and just want to thank you guys for your work on it and let you know that the people of my district out there are excited to see that tank go up.
Good. Thank you.
other comments from council?
Mr. Chairman. Just in general, it's just great to see our partners in all of these things, the city of Clinton and the Warren County Water Resources, be able to finish these projects, that it just wouldn't be cool if we raised all this money to go do these projects and then came up $500,000 short and just couldn't make it all happen. And so, I think our teammates are doing their job here, and I think that I'm proud of them, all of them.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate all you do. All right, up next, we have council submissions of county boards, commissions, and committees. You have 3 from Jeff, Carol, Kim Johnson, myself, our appointments / reappointments. And then also everybody should have a copy for a new library board appointee for District 2, which is Councilman Rankin's district. Do I have a motion to receive and approve these submissions as presented?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Ryan. Second by Mr. Yates. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Congratulations or condolences, whichever may apply. Up next, I'll call on the county administrator to discuss the proposal of the construction contract for the historic courthouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is this microphone working?
No, we're not.
Okay, I'll talk loudly. In front of you, council, you have a sort of overview on phase 2 to the exterior of the courthouse. And I'll just kind of read over that so the public can hear. What phase 2 entails is replacement of the 1972 additions to the historic courthouse with recessed connectors to restore historic appearance. So it's taking it back to the 1911 appearance of that courthouse, and it'll protect the facade from further decay beyond what it already is. It'll replace all the roof components with historically accurate and appropriate materials and details. It'll replace all the historic windows and doors to match that 1911 type. It'll involve restoration repairs to the north and south monumental stairs. Replace all of the metal handrails to the historic type. And one of my favorite things, it'll add the addition of an elevator to the interior of the building to improve accessibility to all of our citizens. So I'd like to give a lot of credit to our partners, Craig Dalton Davis, Mr. Hanson, and Mashburn Construction and Thomas Nutton Engineering to take us to that point, to work with local subcontractors and everybody else to get to that historically accurate facade that we're talking about, especially the finite details of the windows and everything that goes into this project with phase 2. So what I'm seeking from council is the authorization to enter into a professional services contract with Mashburn Construction to let them go ahead and kick off this project. If you look at the packet I gave you, the last page of the timeline, and I hate to put words in their mouth, and hopefully I'm not putting them on the spot too much, but this is the timeline they provided to us. It's approximately a year from mobilization to demobilization. And you can go through all the details at your leisure in there to see what that entails, but you can see going back to your initial review and everything, all the way to demobilization. And I think this is a great timeline. Their ability to do that's pretty, in today's market with materials and everything, that's a great feat. So I think it speaks volumes to what they bring to the table. So to get to the meat and potatoes of the contract that I'm asking for authorization to execute, their contract is for $5,147,067, which is significantly, I'm going to sound like a broken record with what we heard from the city of Clinton, as well as Lawrence County Water Sewer. The original budget in the capital sales tax project was approximately $3,550,000. So you see there is quite a discrepancy, COVID, labor, materials that go into that difference. But the state of South Carolina, with many thanks to our legislative delegation, were able to get a proviso passed through earmark that's going through the State Historic Preservation Office in the amount of $1.5 million. So that alleviates a lot of that difference between the original CPST budget, the Mashburn's contract that I'm asking authorization on. Additionally, credit to this council, you went ahead and already allocated funds for the design work, not only for phase 2 through phase 3 with Craig Dalton Davis. That was $405,000, which will come off the top of that contract as well. So the difference of what you're looking at after you take that off is approximately 307, we'll round up $308,000 that'll have to be accounted for in that difference. So to address that difference, I'm going to ask council to additionally authorize me to use monies from our fund balance in the unrestricted category to cover that $308,000. So we can go ahead and complete phase 2 after you give me authorization of this. Any questions?
I have a question. All right, tell me the amount that was approved for the penny sale.
Yes, ma'am. It's $3,550,000.
Only reason I'm asking this is that City of Clinton, water and sewer, the library, and they cutting back. Everybody that had a 1 cent sale tax technically had to stay within the budget that they had, because that was the funds that was allocated. Excuse me. And I see the county doing the same. I understand that we need to pay the rest. I understand that, but I don't want to vote on it to say we're gonna pay that at this particular time. I think everybody have to stand on their own bottom. If we expect the other 10 projects to stay within their budget, it's the same thing for the county. And I know we have funds and we allocate it, but I really feel like after the project has been completed with that, I think we can ask for the money to complete the project after we know it's gonna be an override. Every project has been override. And I know I serve on the library committee, and they inching up on their footage so they can stay within their time. And I know the state can give them money because the state's supposed to help libraries when they need help. And they got some extra money down there from the opera money also. And so they holding on to theirs. So I really, I got mixed feelings here about us being able to add to our project and the other people having to stay within their project guidelines. I really think everybody should be treated the same.
Senator, I do believe everybody is treated the same, as you heard from Mr. Meadows and Mr. Fields. They're covering their overages on their projects, and Mr. Kirkland, if I'm wrong, when the projects were submitted, there was a clause that if there were any overages, the entity submitting would cover the overages. Is that correct?
You have kind of a two-phase thing. One is, and I'll pick on Joey with City of Clinton. Here's how much money you got. If you go over, you got to pay the difference, which I understand to do. They can then request, as the county can, after all the projects are completed, any of the projects that went over and had to use their own funds can request any excess that may be available from the collections of the capital project sales tax during that 8-year period. Based on current revenue sources, there very well may be, we floated what, a $31 million bond with anticipated revenues of $52 million. So we're working off of 31 million, expecting to receive about 52 million. So there will be some excess, and whether that number's accurate, I don't know. It could be less, but that's the way it works. Is if there are other sources of funding, as Mr. Higgs said, that $1 million came in from the state, the county is then responsible in order to complete the project. In order to do that, the county is responsible for the overage, but can ask for reimbursement at the end of any excess funds that are collected.
That these projects are being completed. in spite of the overrun. And as Sandy was saying, that they're paying for it, each entity out of their own pocket. I think that the administrator has submitted a viable plan for proceeding with this project. I've already peeked at our financial statements. We can afford to do this. And I'd like to put it on the books and move on to other things. So if it's appropriate, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, but if you'd like to wait, I'll do that.
Willing to take a motion.
I think a motion is in.
Well, I'm the chairman and I'm gonna accept one. So please make a motion.
I move that we accept the administrative recommendation for the plan for funding the plan with Mashburn Construction, which includes our putting the $300,000. What was the exact amount? 308, whatever it is.
The contract amount is $5,147,067 with the difference. I just broke down the difference, but as far as the contract goes, that's your number.
I move that we approve the administrative recommendation.
Make sure I heard you correctly. Made a motion to approve the administrative recommendation to enter into a contract with Mashburn Constructions at the amount of $5,147,067 after review of the county attorney. And that any overages of that contract be paid from
That's
the
not what he
fund
said.
balance.
You are correct, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carey. Is there any discussion?
Just what is the fund balance?
The fund balance, and this is as of December 31st, I believe, is I've got it at $12,841,000 roughly.
Thank you.
Can that motion be amended? I don't have anything yet, like I have something against us not paying for it. But there will be funds, just like the attorney said, after the penny sales tax, because it was based on the amount of money that they think would come back. But in a lot of these projects, there have been some overage of funds that have been collected. And those funds can be used at the end of those, when those projects have gone over. So I think I think it's a way already built in to a certain extent that will be helpful to those particular projects. It's not that I'm against completing the courthouse. I'm on that committee also, and I like to see it completed. But I like to see everybody have the same chance and the same shot. I don't think one should do the other, because I see how the others are taking up theirs. I know the county can do the same, but the county can also wait until those funds are appropriated and there's some overage and use them at that particular time also.
I think we're doing the same thing that you saw before us. They're covering the overages with their fund balance, and at the appropriate time, they're going to request a refund, just like we would do. And as far as being treated fairly, everyone has that opportunity, do they not?
Every project.
And had to sign that they would do it when they submitted the project.
Well, maybe
I
they
don't see
didn't,
anybody being treated unfairly personally.
well, maybe they didn't know that they had the option to do that. Everybody might not know the options that's for them unless they ask for it.
Is there any other discussion or questions? And I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? Motion passes 6-1. Councilwoman Anderson in opposition. Up next, we have new business. I'll call again on the county administrator to go over a JAG grant request.
Yes, sir. Before I get into that, I just wanted to remind council, you have a copy of the audit report on your desk. Our audit firm, Malden Jenkins, would like to make a presentation to council on February the 14th. So if you can just pencil that in on your schedules, February 14th is that audit report. Next, as the chairman mentioned, I have the Department of Justice puts out a Edward Burns Justice Assistant Grant. And what that is, it's a reimbursable grant program. So the awardee local governments can apply for reimbursement based off programs they implement, activities, technology to the Department of Justice, and then they reimburse back to the locality. What I'm asking is authorization to sign a certification of assurances by the chief executive applicant of the government to say that we are using those funds as they are supposed to be used. And we will monitor those as they're expended and report back to the Department of Justice that those will be used correctly. That's what it is.
For the recommendation by the county administrator,
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
a motion by Mr. Rankin. Second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any other discussion?
Edward Burns.
Yes, ma'am. It's the Edward Byrne Justice Assistance Grant, and it's given to local governments as a reimbursable grant on a yearly basis.
The county attorney has reviewed, or will have the opportunity to read for it signed.
Already reviewed.
Okay. All right, is there any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of allowing the county administrator to execute the grant? All those, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, up next, we have county council comments. I'll start on my right, Ms. Clark.
No comment.
Mr. Rank.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. We've heard from some great projects going on in the county. I just want to thank everyone for coming and presenting those. That water tower and Hickory Tavern, like I mentioned before, is going to be a great asset to us out there. We're excited. It's good to see that going up and doing well. I also wanted to mention, I mentioned this at our last meeting. I am hosting a bit of a town hall, I guess you could say, out in Princeton in my district on Monday evening at 7 p.m. at Princeton Baptist Church in the Fellowship Hall. I will provide coffee and cookies to anyone that wants to come out and join us. I'll provide a little bit of an update to the people in that area of what we're doing on county council, and also just kind of refresh my constituents, what my campaign promises were, and then where we are in those promises and what we've been able to do and accomplish. And I'm excited to present some really great things that we've been able to do as a council to fulfill those obligations and initiatives that I had set forth. So that is 7 p.m. Princeton Baptist Church on Monday night. We'll also have a couple department heads there to help answer some questions that you guys might have. So hope to see some of you there on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Administrator Thomas Higgs and I are going to be going to Joanna on Friday for Joanna Day. I know that our ratings are up in Joanna on TV. And so if anybody that wants to join us down there, give me a call and we'll set up a time to visit. We'll be talking to the fire department about issues in that part of the county, not just including Joanna, but the surrounding areas where they've got a well-run organization that may be able to serve a wider area, and talking with the folks in Joanna about their vision for the future. You know, we're the only level of government locally for them these days. And so we'll learn from them what their vision is and see how we can help them to do that. Looking forward to that time in Joanna, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Yance.
Yes, sir. Can I go back to the public comments on something? The gentleman out on Wells Road talking about the trucks blocking the road. Can we not require that developer to make a loading zone on his property to keep the road clear?
On his property, the road's closed, so there's no traffic coming through his property at all.
I'm talking about the road. The developer is building a subdivision. Can you not use some of that property to make a loading and unloading zone? And that way the road is clear the whole time. Because if he's just got a half a load, if he's unloaded half his truck and he's got another half that's not tied down and he has to back up, that could create a mess.
Sorry, man, because
Well, no, sir. No. We can look into that, Mr. Johnson, but it's effectively a dead end road, and he's at the end of the dead end road.
Yeah, but we still got to keep it open just in case of emergency vehicle. Bridges.
We can look into it. If you'll give it to us, the bridge, it's fine. We'll definitely take a look at it. Anything else, Mr. Chairman? Ms. Anderson. All right. Mr. Carroll.
I'm good, Mr. Chair.
All righty. I recognize Ms. Neal from Clinton during their presentation earlier. I see Ms. Mary Miller snuck in here on the front row. I just wanted to recognize you. I appreciate you joining us this evening. Ms. Miller is a counselor from the city of Lawrence, and we enjoy when our local municipalities join us for a meeting.
Excuse me, I forgot one person too.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's Josh, but I can't think of his last name right now. But he's a native of Lawrence County, even though he's probably working out of the county right now, but it's good to see you back.
Well, thanks for joining us. Very appreciate it. I'm excited to review the audit report that Ms. Morrow presented us with this evening. Like Ms. Crowe, I've already glanced at it and things are looking very positive for Lawrence County and because we've got a great team of people and good folks in place that are managing our money greatly and making sure we're saving taxpayers' dollars everywhere we can. So with that, that's all I have this evening. Everybody enjoy their this cold weather. I hope it goes away sooner rather than later. There are no other comments. I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all those in favor? All opposed?